Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Music Lab podcast. My name is Dogg, and I'm so excited to be back with all of you for another episode of the podcast. Today, to my left or to my right, it is Mr. Brick Lohr. Welcome, Mr. Brick.
Thanks, Dog. I appreciate you having me, man. Really looking forward to chatting with you tonight.
As am I, my friend. So, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, our social media pages. That helps us. That helps the bands, artists, promoters, and anyone in the music industry that is on the show. Also, check out our sponsor, RAR Outfitters. That's RAWR Outfitters.com. Don't just wear, RAR. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Brick Lohr, I could list all of your accomplishments, your titles, whatever, other than you're just a really good dude that loves live music. And, you know, it took the Appalachian Trail to kind of get you to where you're at right now. Tell the audience about that story.
Sure thing, Dog. I think it's a fun story. It's the story that life is kind of unfolded for me, and I'm pretty happy with where I am. It kind of started when I had walked away from working in the corporate world. Spent better part of a decade doing that, and just wasn't for me anymore. I walked away just as COVID was kind of getting started. Just so happened my first day walking away from the corporate world was 4/20/2020. And I spent the year during COVID just deciding what the next path was in life. And I decided to pursue a dream that I've had since I was young, and that was to go on a through hike of the Appalachian Trail. So in early 2021, I started my through hike at Springer Mountain in Georgia, heading northbound, and it was truly the most extraordinary experience of my life. To this day, I can't imagine an experience that would be more impactful upon my life than that. Who knows what there is to come, though, which is the great part about it. The trail was extraordinary. I got as far as Asheville, North Carolina, when I got off trail. Incidentally, on April 20th, 2021, 1 year after I left the corporate world, I walked into Asheville and I settled in, and COVID was still going on. So there wasn't a whole lot going. There wasn't a lot of live music and things. And I've always loved music. I've always loved live music. And coming out of COVID, I missed not only going to shows and hearing the music and being part of that experience, but most importantly, the community around live music. That's what I missed more than anything. And that's what COVID really showed me is I missed my friends and my family of choice in the music community that I hadn't been interacting with and hadn't been seeing. So when I settled in the first night in Asheville, I went for a walk and just let my ears take me for a walk to see if I could hear any music anywhere. And I walked into a bar in Asheville called the One Stop, which is a very storied venue, Asheville Music Hall, One Stop. And I met so many extraordinary people. And what was only supposed to be a few days off trail, catching my breath, that I ended up staying in Asheville for 5 weeks, just hanging out with friends that I made, musicians, folks in the music industry, and had really just fallen in love with not only Asheville, but the community that I had found there very quickly. And it was during my time there that I realized that the journey had become larger than the hike. And I never quite got back on trail to finish my through hike in the same way. I was on and off for the rest of the year, going to music festivals and events and hiking for a few days or a few weeks at a time, getting off, going to some shows, getting back on. But one of the things I did is I went to a music festival in Southern West Virginia, Mountain Music Festival, that same year. And I was hanging out there on Saturday afternoon, kind of taking it all in. And what I did was I just happened to look at the infrastructure around me. of what was going on, what it takes to run a festival. I kind of let the music fade away and the programming and the vendors, and I started watching what the people were doing that were running the thing. And I spent all afternoon just taking that in, and I realized two things. One, that there wasn't anything going on that I couldn't do or figure out. And two, it was going to be more work to put on a festival than I could ever possibly imagine. And it turns out I was definitely right on the second point. But it was that experience in Asheville and Mountain Music Festival that really led to me deciding that I wanted to pursue a dream born out of my realization in COVID that the community around the music industry is what was the most important thing to me. And what better way to highlight that and to support it than to create an event that was focused on bringing people together as its primary objective and to create community, or rather to create the conditions for community to create itself. When I decided I was going to do it, I went and talked to a dear friend of mine and someone from my festival circle, festival family, Jay, and asked him if he'd like to join me in founding this music festival. And we were off to the races. This was, he and I actually talked about it at Peach Fest in 2021 and decided to do it then. And it was October 2022, about a year and a half, not quite a year and a half later, when we threw the first Ramble Festival.
But to do and to have that vision during such an uncertain world, especially for that particular industry, what made you persevere with that vision?
I've From the very get-go, Dog, I was setting out to create the festival that I've always wanted to attend. And that really is what the Ramble Festival is at the end of the day. It's me sitting around and talking to Jay and some other friends and family that go to festivals and saying, this is what we like about festivals. This is what we don't like. Let's try to maximize the things that we do like and minimize the things that we don't. And, let's just create what would be the festival that would be as close to perfect. Nothing is perfect, but as close to perfect for me that I could ever possibly create. And it it has come to life, not just because of me, but an amazing team of humans. I got to tell you, there are so many people that make this work and come to life. I just happen to be the person that tends to talk to folks and is the face of it and out in front. But the reality of it is there's been some amazing people that have contributed a lot of time and energy to bring this community to life. And it has been extraordinary getting to work with them because that is what it's all about, is bringing people together and creating ties.
Well, and your personal connection to the venue itself, I think is such a fascinating part of all of this. Talk about, that connection and then the venue itself.
Sure, sure. Camp Ramblewood is an extremely special place. I had spent some time working there for about a year on the seasonal team and help support all the operations across various events that go on there. And so we know the property very well. I spent a lot of time there for various festivals and events that have gone on over the past 15 years and learned the site very well because of that. But it's even bigger than that is that Camp Ramblewood is special. If anyone has never been there, it's sometimes you experience places in life, like geographical places that when you spend time there, it just has a different energetic feel to it. And that's what Ramblewood is about. Ramblewood was founded on the same principles and the cornerstones of what the Ramble Festival was also founded on, and that is to create space for people to be the most free and genuine version of themselves by creating space that is safe for them to do so. Space where people are not only free and safe, but encouraged to remove the masks that they wear in their everyday life to appease folks, or that they have to deal with siblings or parents or coworkers or bosses, and anyone that they may. It Many of us have to or choose to wear masks in life, and being given this safe space to be the most genuine version of yourself is, frankly, I'm fairly vocal about the secret sauce of community so far as I'm concerned. When you create space where people are safe to be themselves and feel free, not free to go off and do crazy things, although to an extent that's what festivals are about, but free to feel safe and being themselves without worrying about what anyone else thinks, and being accepted is really what it comes down to. So I knew that if we were going to create a festival, that I didn't want it to be just a music festival. While that is ostensibly from the outside what the Ramble Festival is, I very affectionately refer to it as a community festival with a kick-ass lineup, because the focus has always been about the community first, the lineup, and everything else second. Although all of that is designed to create space where community can exist and can build upon itself.
Yeah, because without the music, you can't have the community, but without the community, you can't really build the festival. So they all have to be kind of tied in.
Yeah, I've gone to a lot of festivals and events and conferences, and I've spent a lifetime traveling to various things with programming of all sorts. And the one common thread across all kinds of industries and various events, festivals, concerts, and programs that I've learned is that people show up to start for the first year, the first 2 years, to because of the programming, because of the lineup, because who's speaking at the conference. But if you have them and you have a good event and you have them there for a year and maybe two, what you start to realize is people start to not minimize, but care a little less about who's on the lineup or who the keynote speaker is or what the programming is general, because the theme that starts to come out that you'll see is they're coming back to reconnect with other people that they connected with previously. They're coming back to touch the community that they've become part of. And that over a certain amount of time becomes very important to people. It becomes more important than who's on the lineup in many cases. I know that there's festivals that I go to every year, and that I can tell you while I'm still on site this year that I'm going to be there next year. It doesn't matter to me who's on the lineup. It doesn't matter to me who the programming is, because I have trust and faith in what that festival provides. I know I'm going to enjoy it no matter who it is. So why am I not going to come back and be with the community that I love, which is the people that I go to those festivals to spend time with to begin with?
Yeah, I will be honest with you right now. The only festival up until Ramble that I would have the same attitude toward you, or as you did, about it didn't matter the lineup, like whatever, is the Newport Folk Festival.
Mhm.
Like that festival, it doesn't matter the lineup. Like after going there, like I get it. Like it's such an amazing festival. But after going to Ramble, like to your point, I could care less what the lineup was, because it was like I am so like counting down the days until like yeah, there's so much that like I took away from this festival that yeah, I just put in my bank, and I'm like, just let's get it going until next year, you know.
Oh,
And to your
that's
point,
not
like I'm
great. Thank
sure
you.
a lot of people feel the same way, and more feel it each year that we do it. So yeah.
It's been really cool to see the community grow. That has been one of the most significant joys of my life, Dog. I got to tell you, is just watching this Ramble community grow and how they're supporting each other. And every year it just grows upon itself a little more, and the people grow a little more accustomed to what it is to be a rambler and to what it is to be part of this community, and that it's just about treating each other just a little better than we'd expect to be treated in everyday life. I like to take that philosophy with everything we do at the festival, every day. And I tell my whole team this is we want to treat people better than they're expecting to be treated at every turn. We're not always going to get it right, That's real. We're never going to be perfect. There's going to always be room for improvement. And frankly, I welcome those opportunities to improve upon. And we're going to be relentlessly focused at every turn on taking care of people just a little better than they expect to be taken care of. And that's why we like to say that at the Ramble, there's no VIPs, which there aren't, because everyone is a VIP. I can't, I could give a smaller number of people a more enhanced experience for and sell that. And I have nothing against it. I've bought VIP tickets myself for other things. It's just not what we do at the Ramble Festival, because it's about breaking down barriers that divide people rather than creating them, even if it makes complete sense from a lot of different angles. At the end of the day, because we are so community focused and it's about creating a vibe and supporting this community, that I genuinely feel that what we lose financially, frankly, from the festival standpoint and not doing VIP is more than made up for in the vibe that we're curating for everyone.
Yeah. Well, and to your point too, we all, whether it's literal or figuratively, we all kind of have to wear a uniform. And when you do have an opportunity to spend 3 days without worrying about that uniform, it is, like you said, freeing, I think is a great way to describe that.
Yeah, freedom is a cornerstone of what the Ramble Festival is built on, and a cornerstone of our philosophy of how to create the conditions for community to exist. It's freedom of one to express oneself openly without fear is really what it comes down to.
Yeah. And I think, doing it in October, Columbus Day weekend, it's just kind of an ideal time of the year to do like a festival like this. How much thought was put into like doing it that time of the year?
I'll be honest, there's not a whole lot of things that we've done or decisions we've made that there hasn't been a lot of thought that's gone into. When I say it's the festival I've always wanted to attend, it's because I've spent a lot of time in tents in the middle of fields at festivals in June, July, and August, and had amazing experiences, and also would have loved for it to be cool enough for me to be able to sleep until 9:30, 10 o'clock after being up all night listening to music, or cool enough that it feels good to put a hoodie on and hang out around a campfire in the evening. That's why October, which is one of my favorite months of the year, is the leaves are changing and the fall's coming on, and it's just a magical time of the year in the Mid-Atlantic, and I think it's even more magical at Ramblewood. And while it does get a little chilly in the evening sometimes, and you're never sure exactly what the weather brings, we've been very fortunate, and it was an absolutely perfect place and the perfect time of the year, as far as I'm concerned, to cap off festival season.
Yeah, I mean, last year's weather, you couldn't have asked for a better weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been very fortunate. We're very grateful for that.
Yeah. So I want to talk about how much of an importance to you is having the band staying at the festival while they're there,
Sure.
by either having them play multiple nights or, just encouraging them to stay.
It's just something that we've wanted to do from the beginning and have leaned into. It's not always possible to book bands for multiple nights at a festival when they're on the road and on tour, but we work it out as much as we can, because we want to, when we say we want to increase the experience and make it just a little better than what you expect for everyone, I'm not just talking about attendees. I'm talking about the artists that are performing on stages, the folks that are supporting them, the front of house crew, the festival staff, the volunteers, the vendors, the partners that we work with, the folks that are pumping the porta johns and picking up the trash. I don't care who they are. If they're a human on site, they have an important role of what is coming together to make the Ramble Festival the Ramble Festival. And the artists just happen to be one piece of that. But wanting to increase the experience for them, we put most all the artists up on site and give them cabin space. And we encourage them to come out for the weekend. If they they have an extra night, they can come out and enjoy and experience a festival again, not just as a musician there doing a job, but as an attendee. Many of the musicians that are in bands at all levels that we bring in love to go to festivals and have been festival goers themselves, whether they're playing the festival or not. So they don't get the opportunity to have fan-like experiences nearly as much as you or I would. So we like to do what we can to support the artists and giving them a little extra time and space to be given hospitality and to be encouraged to be on site to just enjoy themselves as part of the community, not in any way as a pedestal above it, but just part of it. And it's one of the ways that we raise the bar for our musicians that we have on the lineup as well.
Yeah, and those musicians, they're going to talk to other musicians, and the word gets out, and it spreads very quickly, I'm sure.
It's I very fortunate and grateful that we've had so many musicians speak as highly as they have to us and about us. And there's not been a band on the lineup, I think, that hasn't asked to be considered to come back at some point. And we take a lot of pride in that. We feel very good about wanting to lean in to support the music industry and the artists in particular.
Yeah.
In fact, we're actually doing in coordination with one of our partners this year, Heady Wax Fiends. We're going to be doing an enhanced artist experience in the green room where we provide some additional things, some additional services. We're talking about bringing in a massage therapist to provide to them, in addition to a few other things in coordination with Heady Wax Fiends to just take it up another notch for our touring musicians in particular that spend a lot of time on the road and can use just a little extra pampering, comfort, support in various ways.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with that. Can't go wrong with that. There's a festival, the Mile of something in Wisconsin, and I know you're familiar with it.
I am. I've not been there myself, but I've been told about the concept, and frankly, that was in part is what they do has been in part inspiration for our enhanced artist experience this year. Yeah.
Yeah, they actually have dentists that will like clean the artist's teeth for them. If they have a cavity, they'll fill them. Yeah, massage or yeah, it's crazy. Like, yeah, that's really cool. So I want to ask what you personally, what is specifically your role in the festival, and then also your co-founder, Jason, what his role is with the festival.
Oh, I, it's harder. I don't even know what I describe my role as. Chief cook and bottle washer, probably. There's a small team of us that really do the heavy lifting on the day to day. It's primarily driven by Maggie, our business operations officer. She's the backbone of everything we do. And a few other folks. Jay is involved with the planning and strategy as well as the execution on site. I have my hands in a lot of things. Most of it is from operational to strategic marketing. There's a lot of different points that I touch, but it's in coordination with a team of folks. There's when you run a festival of this size, it's kind of all hands on deck to make sure that you're covering all your bases. Because at the end of the day, it's a small business, that we're trying to keep going, and just like any small business owner, there's a lot of balls to keep in the air, and there's many hats to wear.
Yeah. So, what would you say are the biggest challenges facing the industry overall right now?
Well, it's I think the industry's still figuring out what the new normal is since COVID, because it's settling out, but it's a different world that everyone's still trying to figure out. Ticket buyers are less predictable than they used to be, so it's harder to plan and to budget for things. That's definitely part of what we need to look into in this industry. But I think that it's going to start normalizing more and more. Um, the economy obviously has an impact on the music industry. It's not the same as needing groceries, and we all know that. But it is important in many people's lives to feed them in different ways. Um, that's one of the more significant things that I see in the industry. That's it's very hard for young up and coming artists to differentiate themselves from the pack because with the invent of digital recording and technology and Spotify and the social media world that we live in, it's harder to kind of have your voice heard among the pack and to rise above that because there is so many talented people out there that are getting their voices and their musicianship out into the world than ever before. So kind of seeing how various up and coming musicians are navigating that has been really interesting, but is a challenge for anyone that hasn't made it to a certain level of success yet.
Yeah. I mean, I can speak on that. I mean, going to South by every year, I think, over 1,000 bands come there, and we see between 30 and 45 bands while we're there.
Yeah.
It's a very crowded landscape, and you really do it's an uphill battle. And with everything costing so much touring wise, to record songs, it's expensive. Yeah, the album format is kind of dead. It's just there's a lot of it's such an uphill battle for an independent artist.
Mhm. It is. That's and I see that not just from wearing my hat as part of the Ramble Festival, but also with managing Natalie Brooke, and seeing what it's like for an artist to take next steps and what it really takes, the dedication and hard work that goes so much farther than just what you do on stage and with your instrument in your hand or a microphone there.
So as a manager of an artist and as an indie artist just like Natalie, what for a music fan, what are the best things that they can do to help the artist?
Just help boost the signal. If you love an artist, you love some music, share it with your friends and family. Let everybody know that there's something special going on here. Really help be part of the community that helps those artists take their next step in their journey. And it's not just helping them spread the word, it's buying your tickets in advance. Believe it or not, pre-sales are huge for artists. It goes a long way and keeping them going from one show to the next in a lot of ways. So to the best that you can, if you really want to support the industry as a whole, frankly, from venues, festivals, artists, one of the best things you can do is buy your tickets in advance, as far in advance as you can. And if you have a few extra dollars when you're at the show, buy a t-shirt, buy a vinyl album or a koozie, or anything like that goes a long way to making sure that those artists have gas in the tank, food on the table, and a comfy place to sleep on occasion while they're on the road.
Yeah. So have you run into, specifically with Natalie, where venues are taking cuts of like their merchandise sales?
It happens sometimes. It doesn't happen all the time. It depends on the venues, the festivals, and the formats of sales for everything. Um, I think that what I've seen is that overall, it, uh, it is something that happens, and it does cover overhead costs for those venues, for those festivals that they take on to support the merch and everything. So, I know it's a little bit of a controversial topic for some folks as to whether that should happen or not. As someone that wears hats that understands both sides of that fence, it's not something that bothers me as long as it doesn't become excessive. Um, and I think it's something that will continue to evolve in the conversation in the industry, though.
Yeah, I think as long as it keeps being talked about, I think all that artists can do really.
Yeah.
Because there's always
It makes a big difference too where the artist is in their journey, and an artist that's getting paid $500 guarantee for the night and then getting from one show to the next. It's a little harder to take 10-20% out of their merch cut of probably less than what they got paid for the show, than it is an artist that has a much larger guarantee that's more than covering the gas and food and basic operation expenses of the small business that is an artist.
Yeah.
Because that's really what each of these bands that you see coming up are, is they are small business owners, they're entrepreneurs, that their brand is themselves. It is their music and is their voice, it is their ability and how they present to the world. So it's important to keep in mind that they're wearing many hats and doing a lot of different things to keep that dream alive and keep the journey going. Hopefully on a positive track for them.
So what was it about Natalie that made you want to make the jump to, be a manager of an artist?
Yeah, it was genuinely Natalie that made me want to do it. I've had quite a few bands approach me and artists approach me over the past few years and ask if I would give them a hand in management and be part of their team. And I've been very flattered at that. But I I'm a person that is driven by my passions, and um, I'm a person that if I'm not passionate about what I'm doing, I don't put this time and attention into things that I desire to spend my time on. And I became very passionate about Natalie because I not only appreciate her music, but the thing that I love most about Natalie is that she's very genuine. She very much so epitomizes the ideals of the Ramble Festival, and she is who she is. And the person that you see on stage, the person that you talk to at the merch table, the person that you hear their music playing on Spotify or wherever at a festival is genuinely who she is. That is what one of the things I really love about her. She's really extraordinary, and that I think is what differentiates her. That's the it factor, above and beyond the fact that she is a true rock star. And you don't have to spend a whole lot of time around Natalie or go to many of her shows or listen to much of her music to know that there's something special there. She has a certain energy about her that is unlike many artists that I have seen, especially coming up. So I just feel very fortunate. I have an immense amount of gratitude just to have the opportunity. Uh,
For some reason, I lost you there for a second. You're good.
oh, okay.
Yeah, you're okay.
So yeah, where did I leave off there?
Yeah, you were talking about Natalie and going forward.
Yeah, so it's been really exciting with things with Natalie. I decided to move forward with her and manage her about a year and a half ago. We've been working together ever since, and it's been a great working relationship. It really, I think we both see it. I know we both see it as a partnership. We're in this together, and it's been so amazing to see all the hard work and time invested and really coming back around. And some amazing opportunities are coming down the line for her now. We just announced this week that she will be a artist at large at the Sweetwater 420 Festival later this month in Atlanta, which we're very, very excited about. The festival has been evolving over the past few years. It had a attendee base of greater than 30,000 people for a few years, and just a massive way for her to splash onto the southeastern scene. It's really exciting for us. I'll be there with her and looking forward to seeing her getting up and sitting in with some of our favorite artists, hopefully towards the top of the bill as well.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So I want to talk about her and the other. I mean, the Baltimore, Maryland music scene is popping, man. There are so many great bands. Most of probably the general public doesn't know if you're not living in the Mid-Atlantic region talk about some of these bands and like bands that are really like, impressing you.
Uh, um, it's a lot of those bands are my friends, and there's a lot of amazing bands out there. It's hard to name just a few,
Sure.
frankly, to and not leave out so many more amazing bands. Natalie obviously has been doing great things. Uncle Kunkel's one grand band we've had on the Ramble lineup. Five Spot, I'm a big fan of. A really cool story there. Rachel May, one of our buskers from the very first Ramble Festival, went on to be part of Five Spot and kind of came full circle when we booked them last year. Um, there's so many bands. I hate to. Greasy Hands is a great band. We haven't had them on the lineup yet, but would love to get them out at some point. The Infinity Tribe, Natalie's other project with Ari Lesnar from Dancing Bears, which is a great Dead cover band, as is Psycho Killers in the Baltimore, D.C. area as Talking Heads tribute, and um, they also same crew of musicians, give or take, do Foam, which is a Fish tribute that they even do it for kids sometimes, which is really cool. It's really hard. I could go on and on and on of the amazing amounts of talent that we see in the Baltimore scene here, and it really is popping off. There's something special going on, and you can kind of feel it starting to build more and more. And I think it's going to continue to. I think people are going to hear more about the jam scene in particular growing out of Baltimore. I mean, when you have heavy hitters like Pigeons playing ping pong as based in the Baltimore area, and Chris Jacobs, who is on the Ramble lineup this year. Chris is very excited to have him out. There's more and more growth in the jam scene coming down the pike too, and I think people are going to be coming to Baltimore more and more for shows than they ever had before.
Well, and like you said, like it takes venues that, you know, support and allow these bands to thrive and to allow them to play, the 8 by 10, the Cat's Eye,
Mhm.
talk about your connection with those venues.
Yeah, the 8 by 10's like home for me. It's like a home venue. That's what it really feels like. Abigail over there, the owner, is a dear friend, and what she and her husband Brian been doing there for the past 30 years has just been extraordinary to support the music scene. Um, and Cat's Eye, Morgan and guys over there are doing great things, really pumping out a lot of live music in Fells Point and Baltimore on a regular basis. But there's other great spots. Zen West is doing some stuff on occasion. You can get to some shows at the Auto Bar, and there's so many places around. It's hard to pick just one. And there's a lot of great little festivals around too in the area that really support the scene. And I'm just excited to be part of this amazing community here. And it's only going to continue to grow, and it's only going to continue to expand, and it's really going to, I think, be talked about as a scene that people want to be involved in, and it's getting there. It feels amazing, and there's so much gratitude that I get to be just any part of that at all.
Have you seen a show at Elkton Music Hall yet?
I haven't, unfortunately. I've heard amazing things, and incidentally, Yarn's playing there this upcoming Friday. I would love to go. Love Yarn myself. We have them on the Ramble lineup this year. I won't be able to make that show, unfortunately, but I've been telling everybody I can about it.
Yeah, I've not gone there either. Our Whiskey Feathers, they're
Oh,
playing
great.
there in May. They're uh, they're uh, they're great
I
guys.
love the Whiskey Feathers too. It was great to have them on the Ramble lineup last year. Them and
Yeah,
Feather and Flask both.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I appreciate that you had Whiskey Feathers because I would have never known about them.
One of
So,
the things we definitely pride ourselves in is the quality of anyone on the lineup. For sure, it's something that we all take a lot of pride in, and we love that there's enough of a breadth of genres that not everyone knows every band on the lineup every year, but they do know they're probably going to love them when they hear
So let's get back to the festival itself. So one of my favorite parts of the festival, and I think, if you talk to most festival goers, it's the late night jams and the extra late night jams. Whose idea was it? Where was it? Where is it now? And where would you like it to go?
them. I love unique and interesting experiences, unique and ecstatic experiences that you if you miss them, you miss them. They truly only happen once, and the more of those unique and surprises and experiences that we can create for people, the better the experience I find when I'm at festivals or events. Some of the best experiences I've had are things I wasn't expecting. And because I wasn't expecting it, because it was a surprise, because I just had this really cool interaction with a musician that I've loved watching on stage for years, and I didn't expect that to happen, but when it did, it really blew my mind, and it really made that event even more special for me. Well, I love the musical equivalent of that. And for me, that has to do with collaborations between different bands and different musical artists that, in many cases, wouldn't always get together. And that makes them even more unique. We love to put bluegrass Americana bands with jam bands, rock bands, and jump up, put them all up on stage, say, jump up there and just have fun, y'all. And uh, there was I don't think they would mind me telling. There was a couple bands that were on the lineup last year that did a late night, and to a person, all the members of both of those bands kind of pushed back going into it before they got there because they weren't sure about how the genres meld together. And after their set, I was standing backstage and they came off, and every single member of both of those bands came up to me and thanked me coming off stage because they enjoyed it so much and it worked so well. They said there was two things they said. The other band are great people and they're great musicians, and it just worked because of that. And that's kind of what I like to lean into. We like to bring in people that are actually great musicians too. I do my very best to meet a lot of the lineup and see them live before we book them, if at all possible.
Yeah. And talk about how the barn leads
Yeah.
to that or lends to that whole experience.
Yeah, bring that back around for me. Thanks. It's the late nights are collaborative sets. There's a late night set each night, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, where we put in most cases we take two bands, one in the bluegrass Americana world, one in the jam world. Sometimes it's two jam bands or two Americana bluegrass bands, but we try to create as much of a collaborative experience as possible. And those collaborative experiences are unique. They're not happening anywhere else. I think 2 years ago I counted across two songs during one of the late nights members of 10 different bands participating that were just on site hanging out. What happens is the bands get up there and jam. There's a lot of people on stage, and a lot of the other musicians on site hang out, and sometimes they sit in. And it's just we try to create an environment that is conducive to supporting unique and ecstatic musical experiences for everyone. I don't know what that's going to look like most of the time. It's not for me to curate the music so much as it is to provide the blank canvas in that space and in those late nights for the musicians to take over and let it be special.
Yeah. Well, and I think that was, of course, one of the highlights. The other highlight for me was the campfire jams. Talk about the campfire jams and what
Yeah,
you're doing a little bit different this year, correct?
yeah. We have just a little tweak to that this
Yeah.
year. The vision for that has always been some of the best experiences I've had at festivals over the years aren't the experiences that I have in front of stages. And some of the best musical experiences that I've had over the years haven't been in front of stages. It's actually been around campfires with people hanging out, wearing a hoodie, enjoying the warmth of the fire, but also the warmth of the community around them. And there's something about a fire that brings people together. And then you throw in people playing music together and just having jam sessions. Sometimes those intimate moments are the best experiences you can have, even if they're not the ones that you thought would be your favorite going into something. And that was the idea for the late night campfire jams is let's help support these jams getting started. We're now having the buskers, that are Ramble buskers out to help get the campfire jams going and support. But a lot of attendees are coming out and just joining in with their instruments and playing tunes and going around campfire. And we also have a lot of the musical artists that stay with us on site come out. They like to jam just as much as everybody else does, you know. So sometimes that happens as well, and it creates for those unique experiences that only happen when you have the right energy to the place and get the right people together. And that's really what they're about.
Yeah, I was very lucky in my in my tent position last year because I was closer to the upper campfire jam. So near Steph's cereal bar, of course,
Sure,
which we
sure.
got to give a shout out to her.
Steph
Uh,
Cereal Bar, I love it.
so great. But anyway, yeah, so it was great because that Saturday night they played until I think 7:30 in the morning. So like to be lulled to sleep by like a campfire jam, like what better way to fall asleep? I can't
I
think of
can't think of
any.
anything either. I'm with you. I mean, that's kind of the idea behind it. And you know what we're evolving to this year is we've had two campfire jams, one down by the lake, and then the hillside campfire jam that's kind of closer to everything. And what we found is that people were kind of musicians, were kind of naturally breaking off into the rowdier campfire jam on the hill and the quieter one, more singer-songwriter oriented, down by the lake. But without us kind of saying as much, there was enough crossover that I think we just wanted to clearly identify for anyone that wanted different experiences to focus on those two campfire circles, whether it's more of a let's all join in and sing Johnny Cash around a circle and party songs and hoot and holler, or do we want to be more quiet and really listen to the words of the singer-songwriters that are being sung, which can also be rowdy in its own way as well, obviously.
So I think you might have answered this question already, but what is your favorite band that you're looking forward to this year?
Oh man, there's a lot of great stuff on the or sets coming up. I do know what our late nights are going to be. I'm really looking forward to those, I gotta say. The Ramble Band Plays Dead featuring Chris Jacobs. That set is going to be a special one. I think people are not going to want to sleep on that.
Okay. And that will be, you think, evening time, nighttime? Like,
Yeah, that'll
not
be
without giving the specific time, but we're thinking more toward,
right in front of the headliner's first set for that evening. Yeah.
okay, cool. Yeah, that's a good set time. So I want to know the first band that you booked for this year's festival and the last band that you booked for this year's festival.
Sure. Well, I'll admit to you that I can't actually tell you the first band that I booked because that we booked. It's because it's the band that we haven't announced yet and won't be until later this year. Um, I can tell you I'm very excited to have them. But I can tell you that after that band, I believe the next band that we locked in was Chris Jacobs. Very excited to have Chris on the lineup. Baltimore born and raised and still resides, you know, part of the Bridge, and now really taken off between his latest album that he did. He had the infamous String Dusters and Billy Strings and Lindsay Lou and Jerry Douglas and so many amazing people, the McCrae sisters. Um, so very excited to have Chris. And then the last band, other than the Heady Wax Fiends vinyl submission artist, I believe was actually the local Honeys, who I am so excited to see. I don't know if you're familiar with them,
Yeah.
but they're really coming up, and I really love the female presence on stage that they bring. We try to lean into that as much as we can. It's admittedly difficult. We very much so like to do everything we can to support all musicians, and in particular female musicians that there's just not quite as many out there. So whenever possible, we really like to lean into that. I've done so with artists at large over the past couple of years as well, with Kanika Moore, Haley Jane, Natalie Brooke.
So, when you're booking these bands for this particular festival, are is it almost a requirement that they're touring, or can this be a one-off for them in certain cases?
That's it kind of varies from year to year. I like to say that putting a festival lining up is like playing chess in 4D, and there's a team, we have a talent buying team that we work with, and they really do some great heavy lifting for us. Big shout out to them. And it's definitely a lot of work to go through and make those determinations. Do you have to be touring nationally? We try to leave some spots on the lineup specifically geared towards regional bands. I try not to say local because local can be defined very differently. But generally, if you're within 100 miles, your home is within 100 miles, your home market's within 100 miles of the Ramble, we consider you a regional band. And, we try to bring in 4 to 6 regional bands a year. And we definitely try to keep some spots open for that, regardless of whether they're touring or not. It just has to be the right bands that fit the vibe in the right way. We're very careful in how we very purposefully curate the lineup. So there's a lot of great regional bands that we've worked with already and brought in, and a whole bunch more that we know and would love to work with in the future. As long as it fits into the jigsaw puzzle that is the Ramble lineup each year.
Yeah, so talk about like, you know, how much of a stressor it is with set times for bands, because obviously, you don't want to offend anybody. You also don't want to like put somebody in a set, where it's like for the festival overall, it's like it just doesn't feel like they belong in that, or maybe belong isn't the right word, but you know what I'm talking about.
We try to look at it holistically and plan that out and take it into account. We very much so look at the vibe of a band and how that will transition into anything else going on before it, after it, at the same time as it, if there is any competing sets, so that the synergies work best. And we try to minimize the overlap on things that we think that folks will want to see. They kind of put different tracks together, so it becomes a choose your own adventure in its own way. But we do take a lot of time and energy in deciding where different artists are in the schedule, because it does make a difference in how one band leads into the next.
Mhm. Yeah, and which stage to put them on too, right? I
Mhm.
mean, it comes down to all of that as well, right?
It really does. And trying to figure out the right stages and times to put each of the bands and balance it all there's a lot of things to take into account, but I like to think that we're doing an all right job at it, and balancing in ways that people appreciate.
So, what new things outside of the festival? Because I understand what Ramblewood had some renovations this year, correct? The campground itself.
Yeah, some of the 10-bed cabins are getting their own private bathrooms, and air conditioners have been put in them. We're really excited about that, just kind of improving the facilities and giving more comfort options ultimately to some of the attendees if they are interested in cabins, which all have Tempur-Pedic mattresses, by the way, not the summer camp mattresses that I was accustomed to growing up in Scouts. You know. Um, but yeah, there's also there's high-speed Wi-Fi available throughout. Ramblewood brought in high-speed Wi-Fi this year that we're really excited about. That will hopefully be more reliable than the internet that we ran this past year. There's a that was one of the challenges, just one of many that you run into, things like that. But yeah, that's where that's where the the that Ramblewood has made some improvements. Some of the other changes that we're implementing this year, I really love the teen ticket. Actually, we've had people say, "Hey, we have kids that aren't under 12, but they're not adults yet. Instead of buying a full price ticket, is can you help us out here?" And we talked about it. We decided that, we really want to keep the Ramble Festival as family friendly as possible and make it as accessible to not just mom and dad, but the whole family. That to us is such an important thing, and so we decided to implement a teen ticket that is just to support that. And I mentioned the campfire circle. You can check out some of the other changes. I recently put out a blog post. We put out a blog post on the Ramble website under I think it's under ramblings
Yeah,
or
correct. Yeah.
something at the top. But check it out to highlight some of the new stuff we have coming this year as well.
So you kind of touched on it, but what would you say were some of the bigger struggles this year compared to other years?
The internet has been I wouldn't call it a struggle, just, something you have to deal with when we brought in some portable internet to get to the right places. But we've actually found that there's not a whole lot of significant issues. There's always things that come up. You plan for as much as you can, and then you just execute, just like you would in any event. And we feel really good about how it's all been maturing from festival to festival. Each year, we feel like we're understanding what needs done, how to do it, and we don't have to reinvent the wheel quite as much every year. That, and most importantly, the staff and the team that we have supporting it is really extraordinary, and everyone gets a little more experience and understanding each year, and it gets a little easier to move through everything. Um, as a young up and coming festival, going into our fourth year here, just going from scratch to a festival that is ultimately sustainable, has been a challenge, but we feel really good about where we're at, where we're going. So the biggest challenge is just making sure that folks know what the Ramble Festival is and what we're all about, and just getting the word out continually to continue getting this festival to a point where this community will sustain itself. And we're working real hard to get there. And I feel great about how this year's shaping up.
Yeah, and I mean, what Will has his like some of the other things, like, you guys, we did yoga last year, like some of the other activities. Talk about that as well.
Yeah, we had some great health and wellness activities last year. We're going to have some awesome ones this year too, with various classes and workshops that focus on things like yoga and breath work, meditation. But also, I think this year we're going to lean into some fun things too, some things that bring out the inner child in all of us. And I think that we can all use a little more of that, whoever you are in the world today, and allowing your inner child to come out.
Yeah. Yeah, that could be a good slogan, my friend. Come to Rambo, let your inner child, let your inner child out.
Well, and that's like the onesie theme that we've had each of the 3 years.
Yeah.
We don't want to keep repeating the same theme, but and it's kind of become an unofficial theme for us. And I think that maybe what we do this year is the Ramble hopefully will always be associated with onesies, and people will bring their onesies out and stay warm on a fall evening or two with them. And it's, just one way that we like to think that we're helping encourage people to bring out their inner child and give them a safe space to play too.
Yeah, I for the bubble night, I have to admit I didn't know these machines existed that cause so much bubbles. Like, my God.
Yeah, it's I love bubbles personally. I always
Absolutely.
have. It's like you start blowing bubbles around me, my brain shuts off, and I go to my like 7-year-old brick space, and I just light up with glee and chase the bubbles around. There's many stories of it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, if you want great music, a great community, and bubbles, that's
Hey,
what you
I'll take that as a tagline too.
Well, my friend, hopefully it is not 6 months until we see each other again. But thank you so much for doing this. I hope it was as much of a pleasure for you as it was for me.
Oh, indeed it was. Thank you so very much for having me on, Dog. And it's always a pleasure, brother. And I can't wait till the next time we get together and talk festival and so much more. And I can't wait to have you out to the Ramble Festival again this year as well.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, it would be cool to do like a Road to Ramble sort of series where we could have some of the bands on and just kind of, leading up and just kind of, get people pumped, you know?
I'll tell you what, would be happy to talk about how we might be able to make that happen.
Yeah.
Anything we can do to not only support the festival, but really support the artists on the lineup. We try our very best to lean into and go above and beyond by promoting other shows and festivals they're going to be at and really supporting the artists in their journey. It's just one of the ways we lean into building the community, knowing that the artists are part of the community.
Yeah, so that is a good question. So who is kind of the social media then person for the Ramble then? Is it you?
No, it used to be. The year one, I did a lot of it, and it is overwhelming
Yeah.
to run social media for something like a festival. We have a team of folks. We have a couple of folks. We have somebody that runs our social media and to help support us in that full time. And but there's about four of us, 4 to 5 of us that have our hands in supporting the social media team that keeps the Ramble social media engine going.
Yeah. Well, and it's also it's great too, man, that you are present. Like when you go to this festival, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to see Brick. Like I guarantee you, probably multiple times, like you're very visible. You're not like the wizard behind the curtain in the movie, like and is that obviously knowing you, like I know why you do it, but like for people who don't know you, like why do you do that? Why is it important to you?
Well, I didn't originally set out to be the face of the Ramble Festival in any way. But what Jay and I both realized very early into the first year was that um, if we were trying to launch a festival from the ground up to the level of festival we really wanted to start at, and ended up starting at, that we needed to give people reason to trust what we would be providing, the quality of the experience. And we thought, there's no real way to jumpstart that than to get out there in the community and meet people and show them who we are and put our faces on it and say, this isn't just some corporate machine trying to crank out another festival. And I'm not trying to talk about any particular festivals in any way. But it's not some large entity with deep pockets. We're a couple of guys that love music festivals and love going to shows and love supporting artists and know what the community means to be part of because we're a part of multiple music communities. And if it means that much to us, we know it means a lot to a lot of other people too. And ultimately, that's why we're doing this.
Yeah, and I think it really, really helps that you are so close to so many major metropolitan cities. I mean,
Mhm.
it's a real blessing to have that, not only to have Camp Ramblewood as it is, but like if you place Camp Ramblewood anywhere in the world, it would be great. But like in particular in, such a great area where it's so, accessible to so many people.
Oh, it's less than a 3-hour drive from New York City. It's actually very accessible to everything in the New York, New Jersey corridor. And it's about an hour from Philadelphia, 40 minutes from Baltimore, an hour and 20 minutes from DC. Yeah, right, 15 minutes I-95. So it is very accessible, very easy to get to with a large population. I know that the festival, the Ramble Festival, is a great experience for folks. To me, it's not a question of like, are enough people going to come out? It's the only question is when's everyone going to get clued into it? Because it won't be long until I think we're going to see um, our community continue to grow in really beautiful ways.
And it helps that having a federal holiday to recover from it all.
And that doesn't hurt.
On that note, my friend, thank you so much. I look forward to spending more time with you, and best of luck.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate you, man.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, again, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, our social media pages. That helps us. That helps the bands and artists that we feature. Also, check out our sponsor, RAR Outfitters. That's RAWR, outfitters.com. Don't just wear, RAR. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, I've been Dog. You've been great. This is the Music Lab podcast.